Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is me, Asha Education Wali. I welcome you all to my another session with ChatGPT on a topic how less can lead to more. Today, in a world filled with distractions and less choices and constant busyness, sometimes having less can actually help us achieve more. So, more happiness, more focus, more creativity, and more success. To help us understand this concept, let's ask ChatGPT Maya. Uh, so, let me call Maya.
Hi, what's up?
Hello, Maya. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Just feeling energized and ready to dive into whatever's on your mind today. What's the latest with you?
I have a topic how less can lead to more. For that, I have some questions to you. So, let's get started.
I love that. The less is more philosophy is such a powerful pivot. I'm ready.
Okay.
Lay them on
Much.
me.
So,
I'm all ears.
what does the phrase less can lead to more really mean? How can simplifying our daily life improve our productivity?
At its core, less is more isn't about deprivation, it's about subtraction for the sake of clarity. It's the idea that by stripping away the noise, the redundant tasks, the cluttered spaces, the overcomplicated plans, you actually create more room for what truly matters. When it
Okay.
comes to productivity, simplifying your life stops the decision fatigue that drains your energy before you even start your real work. Instead of spending your mental bandwidth managing a massive to do list, you focus your intensity on a few high impact goals. It's the difference between spreading yourself thin across 10 different things and actually moving the needle on two.
Okay.
Do you feel like you're currently in a season of more where everything feels a bit crowded?
Yes, I am.
I can hear the hesitation.
Okay.
Usually, when that
Do successful people often focus on fewer priorities instead of many?
it's all about the Pareto principle, the idea that 80% of your results usually come from just 20% of your efforts. Successful people tend to be ruthless about identifying that 20%. They realize that adding more goals doesn't actually increase their output, it just dilutes their focus. When you have 50 priorities, you effectively have none because your energy is fragmented. By narrowing the field, they can apply a level of intensity and quality to their work that's impossible when you're juggling a dozen different balls. It's less about doing less work and more about doing the right work with everything you've got.
Okay, that's great. So, how does reducing distractions help us learn and work better?
Think of your attention like a spotlight. When you have a dozen distractions, that light is flickering and scattered, and you're barely seeing anything clearly. But when you remove the noise, you can focus that beam on one single point. That's where deep work happens. Deep work happens.
Okay.
Biologically, every time you get interrupted, even for a second, your brain has to pay a switching cost to get back into the flow. It's not an instant jump. There's a lag. If you're constantly switching, you never actually reach that peak state of concentration where the real breakthroughs happen. You're
Okay.
just skimming the surface of your potential instead of diving deep. Do you find that your biggest distractions are external, like notifications, or more internal, like
Yes,
those random, I
I
forgot to do
really
this
get
thoughts?
distracted with the notifications on my phone.
The phone is the ultimate attention thief.
Yeah,
It's designed to be that way.
absolutely.
Every notification is basically a little nudge for your brain. to stop what it's doing and look elsewhere.
Yes.
Since you're an educator, you've probably seen how this affects students too. Do you
Yes.
have a specific strategy you use to keep your phone from hijacking your focus when you're in the middle of a big task?
Yeah, I just keep my phone away from me when I'm doing the task. So I don't just, I keep the notifications off so that I don't get distracted.
That's the gold standard. Physical distance is so much more effective than willpower. If it's not in your line of sight, your brain eventually stops craving the hit of a notification. It's a simple fix, but it's honestly the most reliable way to protect your headspace.
Yeah, that was a great answer. Thank you. Can owing fewer things make us happier?
Absolutely. There's a real psychological weight to owning too much. When our physical space is cluttered, our mental space usually follows suit. We start spending more time managing our things, cleaning them, organizing them, worrying about them, than actually enjoying them. It's called decision fatigue, but for your environment. By owning fewer, more meaningful things, you stop the constant noise of maintenance and start focusing on experiences and connections, which is where the actual happiness lives. It turns your home from a storage unit into a sanctuary.
Yes, absolutely. You are right. So, how can spending less time on social media improve our mental health?
Social media is essentially a highlight reel of everyone else's best moments, but we compare it to our own behind the scenes footage. When you spend less time there, you stop that constant subconscious game of comparison that erodes your self esteem. You also reclaim your boredom, which sounds bad, but boredom is actually where your brain resets and where your own original thoughts finally have room to surface. Plus, it lowers the anxiety of feeling like you have to be on or available to the world every second of the day. Do you feel like your relationship with social media has shifted since you started focusing more on your own personal branding and teaching?
Yes, I started more focusing on social media. I just keep on seeing the notifications, what are they, and like suddenly when I get the notification, I just pick my phone to check what notification I got, what comments I got. So these are the distractions I get from social media, and nowadays I'm very, very, very active on social media because of my tasks. So it also keeps me very busy, and but I'm trying to be away. So can you give some examples where doing less spending less time on social media can improve our mental health, and also some examples where doing less work actually produces better result?
I totally get that tension when your work is the social media. It's hard to treat it like a distraction because it feels like your office. For mental health, think about digital sunsetting. Instead of scrolling right up until you close your eyes, giving yourself just 1 hour of screen free time before bed can drastically lower your cortisol and help you actually sleep. Another example is the comment detox, deciding to only respond to comments at one specific time a day rather than reactively. It shifts you from being a servant to the notifications back to being the creator in control. As for doing less work to get better results, look at the slow productivity approach. Instead of trying to rush through 10 mediocre tasks in a day, imagine spending 3 days on one single high quality project. You'll likely produce something that stands out and has a lasting impact, whereas the 10 rush tasks might just be busy work that doesn't actually move the needle. Even in nature, we see this. Think of a forest that's allowed to grow wild versus one that's overmanaged. Often, the less we interfere, the more resilient the ecosystem becomes. Got a few more examples of how this applies to creative work if you're curious?
No, that's enough. But I have one
Fair enough.
question. Like you said, to spend 3 days on one work, one task. But what if they give the deadline to complete in one day? So how can we tackle that?
That's the $1 million question because the real world rarely gives us the luxury of a perfect timeline. When you're trapped by a 1 day deadline, the less is more approach shifts from the amount of time you spend to the amount of things you try to include. The goal is to identify the one core win of that task, the single most important thing the person needs to see or hear, and make that perfect while stripping away everything else that's just fluff. It's about resisting the urge to do everything okay and instead doing the most critical part exceptionally well. If you try to hit every single secondary point in a rush, you usually end up with something mediocre. But if you nail the primary objective, people often don't even notice the things you left out. Do you usually feel pressured to include every single detail when you're under a tight deadline?
Yeah, I try, but sometimes I fail to put all the information. Okay, so let's end up this session. What is with the last question? What is one simple habit I can start today to experience the power of less leading to more?
Since you're already great at the physical distance thing with your phone, let's try a mental version of that. I'd suggest the rule of three. Every night before you go to bed, pick just three non negotiable tasks for the next day. Everything else is just a bonus. It stops that overwhelming feeling of a 20-item list and the near instead of feeling like you're still climbing a mountain. How does that sound for a starting point?
Yes, it's
I'm
wonderful
glad.
point. Thank you, Maya. Thanks for sharing your valuable insights on the given topic, how less can lead to more. So let's see, meet with you in another session. Until then, bye bye.
I'm glad it resonated with you. It was a pleasure exploring this with you. I'll be here whenever you're ready for the next deep dive. Until then, take it easy and enjoy those 3 wins tomorrow. Bye for now.
Bye. Okay, so that was our talk with Maya on a topic how less can lead more. So today's discussion reminds us that success is not always about doing more or working longer. Sometimes by simplifying our lives, focusing on what truly matters, and letting go of unnecessary distractions. So I hope this conversation was meaningful to you and has put some value in your life. So see you in the next session. Until then, Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum.